Okay, so we are now on the part 8 on the discussions of your 5 basic sentence patterns, and let's now proceed with the third sentence patterns, which is your S, T, V, I, O, D, O. So teacher, what do you mean by STVIODO? Again, for the introduction, so we have the subject plus TV's transitive verb. So teacher, what is an IO again? So your IO is your indirect or indirect object. And teacher, what is DO? Then that is your what? That is your direct object. As you can see, guys, on the board, that there are actually two objects in the sentence. So we have the indirect and direct object. Now, the question, teacher, is how to write pattern number 3. So, how do I know if I have an indirect object in a sentence? So, what is the clue? Okay, as you noticed before, again, what is your clue for a transitive verb? We have the clue here, what and who. And guys, what is the answer to the question what and who? The answer is definitely your what? Direct object. So, how do I know now, teacher, if I have an indirect object? So, what is my clue in identifying an indirect object in a sentence? Your clue here is we ask the question here for whom and to whom. And the indirect object actually receives your direct object. Okay, again, guys, the clue in identifying the indirect object is you ask the question for whom and to whom. If there is a possible answer for to whom and for whom, then you may have an indirect object in a sentence. Now the question here, guys, is this. Teacher, regarding the transitive verbs that I can use in making the sentence pattern, is it always possible that, okay, let's ask this question again. Is it always, teacher, is it always possible that I used all transitive verbs? Then the question again is it always possible, teacher, that I can use all the transitive verbs in the sentence pattern? Then the answer is no. Guys, again, we can ask help from Google. So Google provides you only specific verbs that are used in the sentence construction. Now, the teacher again, one more question. You told us that we can use the question for whom and to whom as the clue in identifying an indirect object. So, teacher, how do I know if I use for whom? How do I know if I use to whom? And teacher, is it always possible? Is it also possible that I can either use for and to? So what do you think, guys? Okay, guys, in making this sentence, as I told you, there are specific verbs that we use if we identify IO asking the question for whom. So what are the examples of these verbs, teacher? You can use build, you can use buy like that, you can use choose. What else? Find, get, make, order, pour, save. So these examples of verbs fall under for him. How about teacher using to him? So what verbs do I usually use here? You can use award, you can use give, you can use hand, you can also use land, you can use offer, you can use pass, show, teach, tell, throw, something like that. And there are also verbs, guys, that we can use either for whom and to whom. And we can use the following verbs. We can use bring, we can use leave, we can use pay, we can use play. Other verbs like post, read, sell, send, sing, take, write. So in this case, guys, again, teacher, why it is important for me to know whether I use preposition for or preposition to? Is it really important for me to know whether for or to? The answer is yes. Teacher, why? Because guys, an STVIODO, you can actually change the pattern. You can actually use the pattern here as TVDO preposition plus DIL. As you notice, guys, there you can use two patterns. You can just simply use STVIODO, or you can use STV preposition plus IO. So the preposition here, you should know whether to or for. And honestly, most people usually use this one. Even students or even in our simple conversation, this is the most commonly used pattern. So teacher, let's have an example. Let's say for. You can say he, let's use past tense. He built. The question is, what did he build? He built a house. So that is your what? DO. So again, your transitive verb asks the question, he built. What did he build? A house. Now, the question is, this house, for whom or to whom? Build falls under for. So you can say, he built his mother a house. So again, he built. What did he build? A house. For him. For his mother. So if the pattern, guys, is STVIODO, we don't need to use preposition here. But as I've told you, you can change the pattern using this. So how to do that, teacher? It could become like this. He built a house for his what? Mother. So, teacher, how about if I use to? Then that is wrong. So build falls under preposition for whom. So he built his mother a house, or he built a house for his mother. The same thing with what? To. Let's say, I teach. Again, what do you teach? I teach grammar. Is it to whom or for whom? Teach falls under to whom. So it could be like this. I teach grammar. To whom? To Mary. I teach. What do you teach? Grammar to whom? To Mary. Or I teach grammar to Mary. That's why here subject, transitive verb, direct object, then your preposition plus IO. How about teacher using for either for or to? So it could be like this. He will send. What will he send? He will send a letter. Teacher, which should I use? Is it for him or to him? Then send falls under either for whom or to him. So it could be like this, guys. He will send a letter to him. He will send Mary a letter. So he will send what? A letter. To whom? To Mary. For whom? For Mary. So you can use your what? I-O. So if you change that sentence pattern, guys, it could become like this. He will send a letter to Mary for Mary. So this is simply how STVIODO, guys, is written. So I guess I have made grammar easy on this part, how we construct an STVIODO pattern. Again, guys, if you have an intransitive verb in the IODO, teacher, is it possible that I always used all the transitive verbs out there? No. There are only specific verbs, guys, that you can use when constructing an STVIODO pattern. How do I identify? We ask the question for him and to him. And if there is a possible answer for that, then you can use the verb in IODO. Now, again, teacher, you said you can use for whom and to whom as the clue. So can I always use either for and to? Again, the answer is no, guys. Because there are verbs that we can use under for, we can use verbs under to, and either for and to is possible. So do you want more example, guys? Okay, let's try to make more example. He bought a pen. Okay, he bought a pen. So what did he buy? A pen. So for whom? He bought me a pen. In some cases, teacher, okay, let's try to make it a little funny. Let's try to do this. But teacher, how about if I do like this? He bought me. Yeah, because teacher, look at this one. How about this one? He. It's the subject. What did he buy? Me. Yeah, the pattern is correct. You have the subject, the verb, the object. It answers the question what and who. But guys, do you think, does it make sense when you say he bought me? Maybe in some cases like when we make informal speech, but it really doesn't make sense. Maybe, oh, he bought me. And it cannot be. That's why sometimes making a sentence, guys, is you have to check whether it really makes sense. Sometimes in this kind of example, we follow the pattern. Yeah, it's correct. There's a possible answer to question who. Who did he buy? Me. It makes sense when it comes to the rule. But how about the meaning? Then also, guys, try to consider that one. Okay? So let's have more example for that. Let's try to have more examples. How about teacher? Let's try to make more example using to him. So for example, he lent money to whom? He lent her money. So he lent, what did he lend? Money. To whom? To her. Okay, so is this clear, guys? Let's have another example. You can say he sings. Okay, he sings songs to me. He sings songs for me. And as you notice, guys, with the second set of my examples, I use I use pronoun as my indirect object. And again, guys, teacher, if I use pronoun, okay, if I use pronoun as an indirect object, so the same thing, guys. In the direct object, we use the objective pronoun. The same in your indirect object, we still use your objective pronouns. So we usually use your me, him, her, us, them. He lent them money. He bought us a pen. He sings us songs. So an indirect object can be pronoun. And if we use pronoun again as an indirect object, we use the objective form of your pronouns. So guys, this is how to make an STV IODO. So does it make clear, guys? I hope STV IODO is clear for everybody. So again, did you get it? I hope I have made grammar easy on this part. So again, this is teacher Christoph, and we're now on the fourth pattern in our next discussion. So again, guys, go to my channel. You can subscribe again. Just type my name, Christopher Tavili, and you can find all the lectures out here. So I hope I can help more in your review to those who still want to refresh their mind on how to make sentence patterns, and to those students out there, I hope that in your class, especially nowadays, classes are usually online. So if you are having a hard time making your sentences, try to follow my lecture. So I'll see you on my next class.